What's going on, everyone? It's Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. Today I want to talk about doing contracts in different states. This question comes up probably every day, every day, because I think that people don't look at local and federal are different but the same. And so when you think about doing a federal contract, I don't think people typically think about being like, if I'm in Georgia, for example, and it's a federal contract in Texas, then someone might say, oh, it's a contract in Texas, I'm just going to go bid on it and perform it. But when it comes to local contracting, a lot of times people are like, can you do contracts in different states? And so the answer is yes. My company, Foresight Industries, does contracts in multiple states. So we are based in Atlanta, and we have contracts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the state of Delaware, in Tennessee, in Florida, and of course throughout Georgia. And we're trying to get everything in between. So we pretty much cover the East Coast. So we have learned, there was a lot of lessons learned in this process of doing out-of-state contracts. So I have a couple of things that I want to share that you need to pay attention to when you are bidding on especially local contracts that you want to think about, that you don't typically have to think about when it comes to federal, but you have to think about when it comes to local. So the first thing is going to be, do you have to be registered in that state? Now, we have not had to be registered in every single state. Now, a couple of our contracts are commercial. We have a couple of corporate contracts throughout the time, throughout the business. But as far as local contracts, most of the time we have had to be registered as a business in that state. Even though, and it's weird because, and I'm not the tax person or whatever, so you ask your tax professional how this process actually works, and ask the Secretary of State how this process actually works. But I have never had to register as a foreign entity. Now, you may have to register as a foreign entity depending on what state you are doing business. So just keep that in mind, that you may need to register with the Secretary of State. That's where you actually, you have to have a registered agent in that location, a specific address, or you may be able to register as a foreign entity, or they may just accept your address where you are located. So again, don't come for me in the comments. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just saying what we have done and what has worked. So do you need to be registered as a local business? Yes, most of the time, but not every time. So you just have to check on that. Also, in certain states, if you're a veteran, you do not have to pay for the state registration. So just also keep that in mind. And that's going to lead me into the second thing, which is, do you have to have a business license? Some people don't realize that registering your business and having a business license are two totally separate things. They're like cousins. They're not even siblings, okay? Because not every state or every city or every county, not even state, but not every city or county is not going to require you to have a business license to do business in their area. Now, it's all contingent. The main thing you need to look at is on the solicitation itself, does it state that you need to have a business license? Does it state that you need to be registered in the state of whatever? You have to look at all those things, especially with local contracting. Many times you have to register in their local portal. Not all of them. Some of these states are a little behind, or some of these counties and cities are a little behind. But if you have to register in their local portal, a lot of times it will tell you exactly what you can and cannot do. So look through the registration or the vendor registration portal for that particular state, that particular city, that particular county, and it will tell you must be a Georgia-based business in order to do business in Georgia, for example. So pay attention to that, and it'll also let you know in the registration process or on the solicitation itself if you have to have a business license. Again, business licenses are free for veterans. Free for veterans. The agency that you are going to, whether it's the county or the city, they may not know this information, so you got to bring them the information. Always go to your local state government site to see what free stuff is for veterans. So for Georgia, it's georgia.gov, and then within that site, it will have everything that's listed for veterans, whether you're 0% all the way up to 100%. So pay attention to that. And then if you are in a different state, of course, and you're looking for the business benefits that you have as a veteran, make sure that you bring that to the attention of the county or city you're trying to get a business license. So boom, that's the second thing. So the third thing is hiring local. When it comes to certain contracts, there may be a specific requirement to either be certified or to hire locally. Now, on some solicitations, it'll have an entire page dedicated to how many local residents have you hired, how many women residents have you hired, how many veteran residents have you hired. So you have to check off a lot of these things. I've seen it quite a bit on solicitation. So that may be very specific to that county or that city or that state. Some just don't care, but there are some that require you to hire locally, and or you must have a local certification stating that you will hire a smaller business as well, or hire a disadvantaged business, but you still need to be registered in that state or something like that. So you just have to look at all the parameters when it comes to hiring locally. That leads me into the next thing, which is minimum wage. And this is something that's actually has been a hot topic in my company, Foresight Industries. And when we started a particular contract, minimum wage was $9 an hour. But since inflation and COVID and all these other things, minimum wage has gone up to $15 an hour. And so in most estimations, minimum wage does not go up more than $1 really in several years. But because of everything, I guess the climate that it is right now, not to say that people should not get paid $15 an hour. I think people should get paid more. But the problem is when it comes to certain government agencies, they are trying to get the cheapest price. And so they're not necessarily recognizing or even caring that you have to pay people unless there's a wage determination or Davis-Bacon, whatever. If there's no parameter like that already in place, or they just choose to ignore it, which is crazy, then you may not be able to hire appropriately, paying people at least $15 an hour. So if you are paying people $15 an hour, that doesn't include all the taxes and fees and everything else you have to pay for this contract. So now you're not making any money. So then you really have to charge more than $15 an hour. And so that becomes an issue when you're going in different states, because you might be in like Mississippi or Alabama and you're hiring people in California and New York where the minimum wage is like $30 an hour or something crazy. I don't know what it is, but it's super high. And they have very specific parameters around hiring in those particular states in specifically. So you just have to really pay attention to, when you're doing out-of-state contracts, what the minimum wage is and when's the last time minimum wage went up, or what's surrounding your equitable adjustment period. Like is the agency willing to do an equitable adjustment? Do they have a history of that? All these things you have to pay attention to. You also have to pay attention to it in your own state. But at least if you're in your own state, then you can kind of watch it a little bit better than if it's in Hawaii or something like that. So that also takes me to taxes. So are you paying taxes? There's some, in particular, Pennsylvania, where you have to pay state taxes, city taxes, county taxes. I think Virginia is also like that, where the taxes are way more extensive than some other states that we do contracting. And that includes if you have like a regular employee in that area. So it's not just if you're doing business in that area, but let's just say you have an admin that works in California. They are your W-2 employees, so the taxes still are applicable. So pay attention to the taxes and the hiring and all those things when you're deciding to do business out of state. In addition to that is union. A lot of Northeast states have union-based employees, especially when it comes to skilled labor like HVAC and really anything when it comes to labor employees. So union can be a pain for business owners. It could be a help. It could be, there's a lot of ways to look at it. But if you know nothing about the union, then you need to get real smart on that if you're going to be doing business, especially in the northeastern states. Another thing is holidays. And this is kind of a funny one. It's not a huge deal, but because we have a contract in Delaware, Delaware is like in a league of their own. They do their own thing, okay? And it's one of the only states that doesn't celebrate Columbus Day. Now, should we celebrate Columbus Day as a country? Who cares? Who knows? But Delaware doesn't. And it's only maybe one or two other states that doesn't celebrate Columbus Day. So that became an issue when, our company is closed for the day. And, all the other employees are off, but then because Delaware doesn't celebrate it and we service the county and city buildings, they're not off work. So our employees can't be off work either. So that's kind of like a little, not a huge deal, but you just have to pay attention to, does every state celebrate every holiday, which is something that I never even thought to ask, but it's very, very much so a part of our life. So I want to give a couple of little quick things about doing contracts outside of your own state. Even within in state. You have to pay attention to all these things. And that's why I always tell people to hire a professional. If it wasn't for my HR manager, I wouldn't know any of this stuff was going on. Like I wouldn't even really be tracking it, because who has time to track when minimum wage is going up and all these other parameters? She's on it. She's on it. And I really appreciate all the due diligence that she does, because I couldn't be where I am right now without her. So just making sure that you're paying attention to that. And if you're not savvy with, some of the HR things that it costs to run a business, especially if you're doing out of state, then you might want to reconsider doing business outside of your state. So I just want to give a couple little things in relation to that, and wanted to share some of my experience, some of my story time. So please remember that the GovConNOW course, where you have the mentorship packet, where you have access to me, unlimited access to me, and also you have the course that takes you from all the way from startup all the way through subcontracting and partnering and teaming with federal, local, and corporate contracting. I also have a special section in there for my veterans. And also we have our GovCon Moneymakers community, which is free for now, 100% free. So please join. And there's a lot of people who are making connections, and they're in the state in which they reside, and they're having meetups and all these wonderful things. So make sure that you check that out. And the link is in the description. So until next time, it's your favorite veteran.